conversation, I may want to show a couple of slides. So
Yeah, definitely. I'll give you all rights.
yeah, please. So you guys are based in which part of India?
All over India, people are joining from different cities.
How about Shivani and Hirani sir? You're one
No,
institution, is it?
Hirani sir belongs to Mumbai and myself from Gurgaon, Delhi.
Durga is Delhi. Okay, okay.
We met on internet only.
Aha, nice.
And we became a community.
That's right. That's a kind of positive outcome of COVID, I would say.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, my ancestors are from Andhra Pradesh.
Let's start.
Sure.
Well, people are yet joining in. We are going to start. A very good morning to one and all present here in this room on this auspicious morning. I welcome you all to Skilling on Saturdays. We have different guests with us every week, and today we have a special guest joining us joining us from all the way from Malaysia. He's Dr. Prebagaran Jayaraman, in short, Dr. Praba. He's a certified learning transfer designer, former chair CMI Malaysia Regional Board Learning Experience Designer. Dr. Praba is an accomplished certified learning transfer designer with a deep commitment to ensuring that learning leads to meaningful action and sustainable performance improvement. With over 3 decades of experience in learning and development, including key leadership roles in both military and corporate training institutions, he has a proven track record of successfully managing learning transfer in complex projects, including the International New Generation Petrol Vessel NGPV project. The challenges of managing learning transfer are numerous, ranging from aligning training outcomes with organizational goals to ensuring that learning is applied in real world scenarios. These challenges require a dedicated approach, leveraging proven frameworks and models to overcome obstacles and ensure that learning is not just theoretical but actionable. Dr. Prabha's expertise in this area is backed by his certification from the Vienna based Institute of Transfer Effectiveness, making him uniquely qualified to address these challenges head on. As a former chair of the Malaysia Regional Board of Chartered Management Institute, CMI, and a current member of the CMI Regional Board Thought Leadership Team, Dr. Prava continues to influence the field of management and leadership development. His hands-on experience in the NGPV project, where he played a pivotal role in identifying training needs and developing effective learning solutions, underscores his practical knowledge and leadership in ensuring that learning translates into improved performance. Dr. Prabha's educational background includes PhD in Engineering Business Management from UTM, where he is currently a postdoctoral fellow with research interests in learning effectiveness. His accolades include being named the Malaysian Armed Forces Best Education Officer in 1993 and receiving the Excellent Smart Partner Award from UTM Space in 2018. He has also conducted training across multiple countries, making his expertise both extensive and globally recognized. You can reach out to Dr. Prabha via his website, prebagaran.my, and we have him here. I welcome you, sir, to Skilling on Saturdays. Let's hear from you how we can convert our learnings into actions. Welcome, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Friends, Shivani, Hirani sir, and all the members here. When we talk about learning transfer, let us just, whoever friends who are connected in the Zoom here, do a bit of reflection here. Do you think the problem in job or work is we don't know what to do, or we don't do what we know? Is my question. Performance at workplace or life in general, is it because we don't know what to do, or we don't do what we know? Put in the chat, please, your view.
We don't do what we know mostly.
Exactly, sir. That's your view. Nice. We don't do what we know. That means sometimes in class I ask, yeah, how many of you know exercise is good for health? Everybody will raise their hand. Isn't it? Everybody will raise the hand. But how many people really exercise at least 150 minutes moderate exercise per week? That is the recommendation of World Health Organization. If the basic 150 minutes of exercise is done, thank you, Gopi, you do. But look at the statistics of people who are struggling with behavior-based disease. Look at India and look at your statistics on diabetes. And that's perhaps worse in Malaysia. Look at people who are struggling with lifestyle-based disease. So I would like to remind all of us, my friends, that more often than not, the problem at workplace or life here is not because we don't know what to do, but we don't do what we know. So when we don't do what we know, is conducting training or giving budget on benefit of exercise, is it going to help? Everybody knows exercise is good for health. And coming up with more budget of exercise, is it going to help? No. So what I'm trying to tell my friends, always remember, learning is like a seed. Let me ask Hirani sir, what is your favorite fruit? Fruit.
Fruit.
Yep.
Mango.
Mango. I thought so, yeah. Is it a season in India now?
No. It's
Not yet. All right. So we know India has perhaps the best mango.
But sir, there are many types of mangoes. Some come after rain. So there is season for somebody. Yes.
Exactly. So imagine, because in Malaysia, we import mangoes from India. So it's like waiting. When is the next best mango come? So imagine you take the best seed of Indian mango and you plant in Malaysia or any other country, but it's a dry season and you don't have budget or don't have people for watering. Within 1 month, what do you get?
Nothing, I think.
Nothing, yeah.
Dead
Basically, dried seed.
Dried seeds.
Dried seed. You can get the best Indian mango, but if you don't have the process to water the mango and make sure the soil is fertile, nothing happens with the mango seed.
Absolutely.
That is one mango. I would like to share some statistics with all of you, my friends, so that we get a feel of the amount of wastages that is happening across the board worldwide. But before that, let me just give you an overview. Yeah, perhaps this is better for Shivani. Shivani, are you aware of Barbie dolls?
Yes.
Everybody.
Everybody, yeah, Barbie dolls. My friends, I started my career in 1989 making Barbie dolls.
Making.
Making, yeah. The Barbie doll, of course, the headquarters is United States, yeah, Mattel, but it is manufactured in those days in 18 different countries, including Malaysia. So if you started wearing makeup in Russia, from a distance, I will know. Because my job is decorating Barbie dolls. What I'm trying to say here is, having the specs of Barbie dolls decoration is one thing. Making sure it meets the highest quality standard for international market is another thing. At that time, 35 years ago, I was not even aware of the concept called learning transfer. But reflecting on it, if a company can consistently be the world #1 in their industry for more than 5 decades, there must be something right. And one of it is called learning transfer. But let me take you through. Are we going to have presentation like this, or we are going to have question and answer?
We'll go with the presentation, and after your presentation, we'll take up the question and answer.
All right, thank you. My friends, if you have any question in between in the chat, yeah, please feel free to put in the chat. Shivani or Hirani sir can remind me to answer the question, yeah?
Definitely. Definitely.
Because sometimes we used to say, we don't want a situation, you listen to Ramayana whole night, and the next morning somebody asks, is Sita Rama's sister? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we don't want some specific question that need answer now to be, wait, So feel free to stop me and I'll wait for guidance, yeah? But I realized that making Barbie dolls is not my cup of tea, not my dharma, not what I'm born for. I'm a soldier. But not everybody in the military are the infantry. If any of you are soldiers or have family members who are soldiers, not everyone is in the battleground. For few million people to be in the battleground, multi-million people have to support them in terms of training, in terms of other resources, yeah? So there's a whole, like 2 hours of movie may have 20,000 of hours of movies for practice behind it. For one Shah Rukh Khan, there could be 50 other people preparing him for the 2 hours or perhaps more, yeah? Right? So same thing in the military. My job was designing training. And I want you to know, yeah, my friends, many of you are from India. You have a much more advanced military. In the bank or in the organization, if you have unskilled people, worst case scenario, the bank can go bankrupt. The business can go down. But life can go on. But in military, if the person is not competent, you bring back body bags. And the last thing an officer wants to do is go for the funeral of his fellow members or fellow officers in avoidable circumstances. If you die as a martyr in a war, my parents will be very happy. Every time we go for an operation, they know if I'm come back, that's good. If I haven't come back, that's what I'm signed up for, which I'll be proud. But the last thing you want is to know that somebody died because they are not competent in doing their job. So what I'm trying to say here is, Learning is one thing. Applying the learning at workplace is another thing. Graduating from IIT is one thing. Using the IIT skill to enhance the quality of life is another thing. Got it? Graduating from Harvard is one thing. Using the Harvard skill to enhance the economy of the world is another thing.
Yes.
Reflect now, my friends. Do you think the skill of people is really used to enhance the quality of life? In some cases, yes. From a distance, I follow the digitization of Indian people. You know, even a street vendor is digitized. They have a bank account. So the money goes to them instead of the middleman. That's fantastic. Brilliant. My daughter was studying medicine in Manipal. So when she visited a lot of villages, part of their training, in 21st century, just about 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, she was still surprised. Toilet seems to be a luxury for millions of people. Any of you are listening to the live stream, including politicians in India, perhaps you need to do a bit of reflection. If millions of dollars can be spent on a wedding or a ceremony or whatever initiative, but hundreds of millions of people are struggling for toilets, does it mean the technology is transferred? Let me stop here. Any questions?
So not the question, but what you said is the information, the journey from information to knowledge to wisdom. And knowledge to wisdom is through action.
Exactly, sir. Exactly. So when knowledge, like what Hirani said, information, knowledge, wisdom. The application of wisdom must be translated with improvements. If the application of wisdom is creating more problem, you and I have to reflect, is it wisdom? You see, when people are moving faster, more people are dying of depression and anxiety and suicidal, mental health. Is it wisdom? Correct? No. If the country is progressing very well, but quality of air is so horrible that people have to struggle in the cities like Delhi, is it wisdom?
No, sir.
So somebody have to realize here, development is not with the number of cars or the highest, the widest highways or biggest building or tallest building. Yeah, you give me that kind of money, I can build buildings in Sahara Desert. No, I was for 14 years part of a warship building project. When we have money, we can build. But what matters is, does that bring better quality of life? So my job in the military, I was trained in something we call Royal Malaysian Navy Training System, where we develop competency. And if a person is not competent, life is at stake. And as an officer, my people's life is my responsibility. When I go for a funeral, when you look at the face of a mother who lost a child, I tell you, I've been to 1 or 2 funerals like that. Thank God, not more than that. That is the worst experience. When they look at your face and say, sir, I trusted you. And my son died in an accident, in a military operation. I tell you, that's when I'm committed to facilitate as much as possible in terms of learning transfer. Just to give you a perspective, this warship is my project for 14 years. We are just like India, a British colony. In 1957, when we got independent, the British left some old vessels. In 1980s, we start modernizing Malaysian Navy. And we start acquiring technology from Germany. Among others, my project is from Hamburg, Germany. 2 of the ships was built in Germany. Other 4 was built in Malaysia. We had enough problems. It's not a smooth sailing. But something that facilitated me or inspired me is, if you want to facilitate learning transfer, that is a science. It's not common sense. Otherwise, millions of people are graduating, but people are still struggling for day-to-day life. That means learning is not applied. If you're coming from an organization or country where it's uncivilized, that is well and fine. But if I went to India with some of the museum to see the work of Mohenjo-daro Harappa, the infrastructure and the design and the irrigation system, defense system of the city 5,000 years ago, I'm still, wow. But you go back today, look at the crowd, look at the facilities, look at the technology. You and I sometimes, at least I will be wondering, are we progressing or regressing? Are we progressing or regressing? You got to ask yourself.
We are transferring knowledge for regressing on.
So, again, yeah, I'm reminding myself, be very careful with your shares point of view. I'm sharing my personal point of view. When we are having the knowledge, but you are not using it for your benefit and other people's benefit, I call that intellectual obesity.
Intellectual?
Obesity. Obese.
Obesity. Yes.
You see, why people become obese?
They take a lot. Eat more.
Eat more.
More than
Let's say
required.
they eat 3,000 calories, but they only burn 2,000 calories.
Yes.
They become overweight. I'm oversimplifying a complex physiology. Yeah, any of you in the medical profession, I respect. The complexity of human body is so complex. Yeah, my daughter is a doctor. My son-in-law is a doctor. Hearing they talk about even a small disease is so complex to my little brain. So I don't want to simplify the process. But all I'm telling is, just because you build more universities, more IIT, more students getting 99%, does not mean learning is applied. So why I call that intellectual obesity?
So yes, one small example. Previously, we had a Doordarshan. We had Chayagit. We had Full Khile Gulshan Gulshan and a picture. We were more than happy. And now there are lots of things coming, OTP, OTT and all this thing. And people are not satisfied. Because there is so much to see, you can't watch even one thing properly. So what we said, it's sort of, intellectual obesity or whatever, from this point of entertainment obesity. So we are getting so much, we are not able to really, really enjoy it.
Nice. Thank you, sir. So my friends, I just wanted to remind all of you here, don't become victim of physical obesity the doctors can see. I'm a military officer, so every 6 months we have to go for physical training. We have every part of our body will be tested, right? Your simple measure like BMI, body mass index. So when you're obese, you can just go on a weighing scale, you can see. But intellectual obesity, it's so difficult because, with due respect, a lot of idiots can have big titles like PhD, Major, General, Admiral, Prime Ministers, or whatever big names, but they may not be translating that into action. Chief Executive Officers. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, when we have a lot of knowledge, but the knowledge is not applied, I call that intellectual obesity. And the worst thing is, people can sound intelligent, with a lot of accolade, decoration, first class honors, 100 marks, #1 seat. That is not intelligent, yeah? That is potential. That means we have knowledge. Knowledge is like what Hirani sir said, information, knowledge, wisdom, application of the wisdom is what matters. Application of wisdom. That is a missing link that I would like to remind all of you. Learning transfer. I'm a one, like what Shivani said, certified transfer designer. This is an institution in Vienna. I'm only currently the second person in Malaysia being transfer designer. There are a couple of my friends in India. I'm not here to promote anything, but I'm telling you, if you are investing $100 billion on training, but you don't have a seat of training, mango, for example, like what Hirani says, but you don't have budget for water, end of the day, you get only dry seed. So what we are going to share in the next 40 minutes or so, yeah, Shivani, please remind me with time.
Yeah. Yes.
What we are going to do is ask and answer these 3 questions, or rather 3 ideas. But you can stop me anytime, yeah? Return of investment on training. That means when you are spending money, either as an individual, as a country, as an organization. Imagine you spend money for training, people get good grades, but end of the day, quality of life is not improved. Not only quality of their family or their country, sometimes their own life. They are more stressed. They work 24 hours or 20 hours, or being busy is like a badge of honor. Don't have time to even enjoy a sunset and sunrise. No time for exercise. No time to enjoy a basic chapati well. Everything in a rush. Do you call that progress? Do you call that success? If you're so busy climbing the ladder of success, only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall few weeks before you die, that is a wasted life. So what I'm trying to tell is ROI stands for return of investment. When we are investing on learning, we need to know what is the outcome. If the outcome is depression, anxiety, and more people stealing and bribery and corruption, that is not learning. If the outcome is progress, people are more comfortable, people are more living in a... I'm not preaching you to go and help others, yeah? At least you and I are more comfortable, more at peace when you wake up in the morning. That is progress. And I'm a chemistry graduate. I have my bachelor's degrees in chemistry. So I'm not talking about philosophy here. I'm talking about science. That means when you're stressed, your body will be all cortisol, adrenaline, all these uncomfortable brain chemicals. When you are comfortable, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin, you feel nice. That's why sometimes people in the farm area are maybe earning 1/10 of our salary, but wake up peaceful. And some people in the name of development go and spoil their farming land and make it worse. And the person who produce food don't have food.
Yes.
Do you call that development? Do you call that wisdom? So think, my friends, yeah? Think. But I'm not here to tell you the problem. I'm talking about what are the ways we can improve to transfer learning into action. And I'm honored to have the personal experience, because we acquire the capability to build the ship, and end of the day, we build the ship in Malaysia. So what it means by learning transfer is, previously what you cannot do, now you can do. Simple as that. You can get rid of the consultant and do it yourself. and what we can do to that. Yeah. So I'm sure many of you know, my friends, Harvard Business Review. Recently, I've been speaking about this subject for many, many years, and I'm very, very selective. I only speak to people who wants to listen. I'm honored to have enough work to do that. I'm not desperate for more work, right? I shared with an audience representing Malaysian government, and I showed this article. Michael Beer and his colleagues, Harvard Business Review in October 2016, started an article titled, "Why Leadership Training Fails and What We Can Do About It." Interesting title. But imagine the first line is, "Corporations are victim of great training robbery." Corporations are victim of great training robbery. I've been in the training industry for 35 years. Like Shivani said, no, I've conducted training in 15 different countries. But imagine I'm a teacher, I get paid quite well. And then they call me corporation, my client is victim of the robbery. How will you feel? Imagine your Minister of Human Resource in India who approved billions of dollars when people are still not competent, and the minister or his secretary is called robber. Imagine a chief executive officer who approved budget for competency development. People are not still competent. They are called robbers. You got it, my friend? And this is not a group of idiots talking here. This is from Harvard Business Review. And they cannot be writing rubbish. Research-based. I was initially disturbed, but after I read the article thoroughly, I can relate to that. I can resonate. Why? This is a Malaysian newspaper on 16 July 2005, 19 years ago. Lumot is a place where I'm staying. It's a naval town, military town. I've been here since 1993. This is my project. So while I talk about learning transfer, I was member of one of the mega failed, the most failed project in Malaysian government. I'm not talking it as a proud, yeah, I'm embarrassed. But that's a reality. So now I conduct training on subjects called Managing Troubled Project. When people ask me, Praba, what is your qualification? I'm a project management professional. I'm a PhD in project. I know I've attended the graduation 6 times. But I share this. I said I've been member of a failed project. This is in July 2005. And on June 2006, in less than 1 year, we developed the ship and delivered a complex warship. So I know how a project failed, and I also know how a project can be successful. I'm equally proud, or I would say grateful, for this failed experience. Because now I know from a distance what are the early indicators of failure. If someone cannot wake up on time and go to work on time, that's already an indicator of failure. If you promise your report is at 8 o'clock and at 8:05 you're not submitting your report, that is already an indicator of failure. Failure don't come suddenly. They show indicators. And I've seen firsthand, yeah, we lost close to $2 billion US. But more importantly, a government's strategic initiative to transform a city into a maritime technology city failed. That means that is a multi-billion-dollar failures. I was part of it. Then we successfully delivered. Partially, it's still a failed project in my opinion, because the scope is delivered, but a lot of learning opportunity was not realized. You got it? Because a project is not a project alone, yeah? The infrastructure and other facilities. Research says the multiplying effect can be 6 times more. So this is a 6 billion, about 2 billion US dollars project. It could have created 12 billion or 14 billion economic around the activities. But unfortunately, it was not realized. So this is my personal experience of failure. But let me just stop here and ask all our friends, if you can unmute or you can chat, put in the chat, yeah? What is the percentage of learning that is translated into action at workplace? Can you put in the chat? Let's see how many friends really appreciate if you can put in the chat. Yeah, of course, this is very personal and very subjective, and there's no fixed answer. Yeah, it's not a mathematical question. But in your opinion, what is the percentage of learning translated into action at workplace? Thank you. Let us see. Yeah. Yep. Tamra, thank you. 10 to 20%. Manoj, 20%. Shivani, 1 to 5%. Wow. Right. Ritesh, 10%. Dr. Rajkumar, sir, 5%, 5%, 5%. Whatever the number, yeah. Imagine you go and pay for, Shivani, out of curiosity, yeah, in an average restaurant, a hotel in Mumbai, what is the cost of a chapati? Of course, it varies, but, you know, average, let's say a 3-star, 4-star.
Around 150 to 250.
Let's say you pay 250 rupees for a chapati and the person give you 5% of the chapati.
Got it.
You got it? You are paying 250 for a chapati. When you get in the plate, you get one small piece, 5% of the chapati. When it comes to chapati, we can immediately see. You know, let's say you go for a 2 hours movie, in 10 minutes, the movie said the end. The whole theater will be erupted. But when it comes to learning, consistently everybody is agreeable that huge percentage of learning is not transferred. Out of curiosity, yeah, let me take the highest point, yeah. Irani says 25%. You know, Shilpa said 30%. All right. That means even the highest here is saying 25%. That means all of us know 75% of the learning is not applied. And hardly anybody, have you have anyone have a job title in India or anyone in the world, other part of the world, yeah? Learning transfer manager, learning transfer director? Have you heard that job title?
I have heard it first time.
The job title can be different, yeah? What I'm telling is, when a country is investing on training, and then when you want to see whether the training is applied, don't you think it's common sense to have some resources for monitoring it? A farmer won't be planting a mango seed and just leave it like that. My mother, no, she's 85 years old. She went to my brother's place. Even now she's worried whether I water the garden or not. No, that means a farmer knows when I put the seed, I am responsible to water it. But a lot of top leaders, including ministers and chief executives, they spend money on training, but whether the training is applied or not, nobody monitors. What get measured, get managed. What get measured, get managed. So it's immediately crazy idea when you agree that 80% of learning is not applied and you are not even aware of it. And you take photograph of all the training, success, and then celebrate it. Wow, we have built 100 IIT. IIT is #1 in the world. My question is, so what? What I'll be happy is, of course, I'll be seeing, what I'll be happy, I'm giving India as an example. The same applies in Malaysia. I've been part of a failed project, You acquire the skill, but you are not able to apply it. That is a waste.
Sir, is this the part of 80-20 rule again?
Yeah, could be. The Pareto principle,
Pareto
could be.
principle.
Yeah. But 20 is just a number. It could be anything. It could be 5.
Yes, yes.
And some people can see it's 80%. There are organizations who are achieving 80% success. All right. But all I'm telling is, according to the research in average, like what Iranis said, more than 80% of learning from training are not applied. So you investing your Saturday with me, my friends, if you go back and have the realization, hey, if I am approving the budget for training, I am responsible to at least facilitate that. I will be a hypocrite if I just take a picture and put a newspaper article on so many people are trained, that is so many seeds are planted, but you are not even aware that in 1 month time, all you plant is a dried seed now. That is waste. My purpose of existence today is to facilitate that process. And we have a community of practitioners. We call that learning transfer designers, where we are facilitating people. And what we can do about. And this is very, very teachable and learnable skill. It's so simple. All you need is maybe a fraction, 1% of the skill required of sending people to moon. All right? Well, I mean, I'm an Indian origin in Malaysia. I'm so proud, when the Indian space broke the world record by landing safely in the south pole of the moon. Wow. So the process I'm talking about is a fraction of it. All we need is intention and political will and awareness. Imagine instead of 20%, if we can increase to 40%, 50%, imagine the opportunity for development. And I'm not talking about charity, it's a business. When more people are skillful, it enhances everybody's business. And it's the right thing to do. And I'm not saying people are not responsible, they are just not aware. All changes starts with ABC. Awareness before change. Awareness before change. Shivani, can you put in the chat, please? Awareness before change. So in this 1 hour, I'm not promising that you are going to learn all the skills, but you will have awareness. So when you attend, whether you are a business owner, whether you are personally, you are spending money on the skill, like what, skill development, after attending a training, ask yourself, what I should do to translate this learning into action. If I'm sending people for training, what I can do to help my employees to translate their learning into action. And it's not one person's responsibility, it's an ecosystem. And I'm not blaming anybody, because everybody, I'm sure they have good intention, but they're not aware of the barriers. And day to day, they are so busy with many other things. This dimension of application of learning is not measured and not monitored. So like I said just now, what get measured, get managed. So what is return of training? Yeah, I took it from some beautiful resources. Yeah, if you want, you can just take it a QR code. That's a real benefit from the organization here. We says ROI is benefit of training minus cost of training over cost of training. You know, the organization called Learning, they have beautifully written the summary. I thank them for the resources, and I wish more people will benefit from being aware of ROI. And of course, this is not a complete solution. Yeah, you can modify that. But all I'm telling is, when you invest on training, you are not investing on the activity of the day or 2 day or 1 month or 1 year. You are investing on the desired outcome. You are not investing the seed of mango for the seed. You are investing for the tree that gives you the mango. And that takes time. So if you have money, effort, resources for the seed, but don't have awareness to water it, fertilize it, pull the weeds, end of the day, you don't get the mango. For mango, for chapati, all that visible we can see. But capacity building, we cannot see. That means more people are working very, very, very hard, but life is a struggle. I cannot visualize it. Yeah? Unfortunately, just before the crisis in Dhaka, in Bangladesh, 1 month before the political crisis, I was teaching there in Bangladesh, in Dhaka. One of my hosts brought me for a shopping for some souvenir for my wife and family. And a guy in rickshaw pulled me. From Malaysia, I cannot visualize it. And then they said, hundreds of thousands of people are making a living out of just struggling, working so hard. And I said, is this development? Where people have to work, struggle their life for a food. Think, yeah? I hope I'm not being very philosophical. I must admit, I don't understand the bigger picture. There could be a much more complex issue. But all I'm telling is, I don't call that development if millions of people around me are struggling for food. I cannot digest it. Yep. But and what I'm talking about is nothing new, yeah. If those of you who speak Tamil, the Indian language that I speak is Tamil. This saint Tiruvalluvar, 2,500 years ago, he said in Tamil, beautifully, allow me to say a phrase in Tamil, Shivani. It's known as Karka Kasadara, Karpavai Katrapin, Nitka Adarku Taga. Karka Kasadara, Tiruvalluvar said 2,500 years ago, whatever you learn thoroughly, learn deeply. But after learning, behave like a learned person. Behave like a learned person. Don't just read Ramayana and memorize all the 20,000 verses. But self-check, am I having the discipline, the dedication of Rama? Don't just memorize all the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. Ask yourself, ask myself, am I able to fulfill my dharma? That is the purpose. Beautiful Sanskrit chanting. Lovely. But am I living it? So this is what Valluvar said, yeah. Learn thoroughly what needs to be learned and then live accordingly. We don't need statistics. Just observe ourselves and reflect. Are we living as a civilized nation or otherwise? And what is the indicator of civilization? If the environment is polluted, if the quality of life is horrible, if toilet is luxury for hundreds of millions of people, is this development? Please feel free to put any message in the chat, yeah? And this is not also new. About 1,500 years ago, an Islamic scholar, Imam Al-Ghazali, mentioned the same thing. The down there in italic is our local Malay language. What it means is, knowledge without action is wastefulness. And maybe 30, 40 years ago, the late Jack Welch, the former CEO of General Electric, said the same thing. An organization's ability to learn and translate that learning into action rapidly is the ultimate competitive advantage. So I bring you a generation here from 2,500 years ago by Tiruvalluvar, about 1,000 years ago by Imam Al-Ghazali, and about 20 years ago by Jack Welch. And today Praba is talking about the same thing with Shivani and friends. So talking is not enough. We need to apply. And I'm not alone. Paul Matthew is one of my favorite authors. I'm well connected with him, at least through LinkedIn and emails. I get his work. He's based in Australia, New Zealand, I think. And I love his description. Let me stop here and ask anybody to unmute or share. When you see this picture, what comes to your mind, my friends?
It can start when we learn things look like an elephant, but we can always break it down into chunks to absorb and implement.
Interesting, Shivani. That's a very interesting perspective. You know, it looks like a huge, but eat in bite size, yeah? It's interesting. Any other view? What comes to your mind?
As Ganesha has long ears, similar is the case with this photograph, wherein we need to keep our ears wide open and assimilate as much as possible.
Very interesting, yeah? On the season of Ganesha Chaturthi, yeah? Vinayagar Chaturthi. Interesting.
Ganesha.
What I want you to remember, the author's idea is the problem of learning transfer is like a huge elephant, but no one seems to be aware of it. You got it? You know, the guy on the right can be your Minister of Human Resource. The guy on the left can be your Prime Minister. In the Parliament, they talk about development, talent, skill development. They spend a lot of money, but whether it's applied or not, nobody measured. It could be the CEO of a company. It could be you and me, Praba. I spend money on training, but if I don't apply what I learn, it's a hypocrite. So that is the message by the author of this book. That means learning transfer is like a huge elephant, but nobody seems to be aware. That's why when I asked learning transfer, Shivani said, I've never heard of it. And she's in the learning and development industry, in the growth mindset industry. So imagine the layman. Got it, my friend? So the message that what I want to all of us to remember when you leave my class or this session in the next few minutes, ask yourself, when we are investing money on learning, the purpose is not only getting certificate. The purpose is to translate the information into knowledge, knowledge into wisdom, and apply the wisdom to add value. If you apply the wisdom to create more crises, that is not wisdom. If because of your capability, people are scared of you, that is not leader, that's gangster. Let us move on. I put this work in progress because this is a book. I'm a bit embarrassed. I've been telling this is coming soon. But God willing, it's almost done. The final publication is happening. This is my work out of my PhD. I completed my PhD in the year 2009, 15 years ago. But that was based on a defense project. And many of you know, defense project is always a very confidential. But now, after the time of in the research and a bit of frustration, seeing the learning transfer is not applied, I decided to write the book. So, of course, there are many references. Matthew from New Zealand, he wrote the book called Learning Transfer, like I showed. So my book is, what I'm trying to say here is, stop intellectual obesity. Don't simply acquire learning and then don't apply. Don't focus. Well, I'm not a top student, yeah. I'm not a top scorer, so I'll be jealous, yeah. Be your top scorer, but then behave like a top scorer after that. All right? Graduate from IIT. After that, at least make your farmland more fertilized. Don't bring an investor from somewhere else and spoil the farmland and let farmers to go suicide. That is not intelligent. That is robbery. So you don't want educated robbers. The people who never go to school and whatever for their, no one should be robbers. But if they don't have the wisdom and they become robber, at least perhaps justified, or perhaps their previous karma, or whatever you talk about it. But if you are well educated, network, capability, and then the country is, the soil is dying, the river is dying, the pollution is increasing, mental health is getting worse, diabetic is getting worse. Do you call that development? Think, my friends. And you don't have to worry about the entire 1.2 billion people in India or any other world. If you can help 2 people to become better, it's worth it. So we have about 26 people, whatever the number in the live streaming. If end of the day after my class, if you and I can help yourself, whatever I learn, I want to try to apply it. Then I help my people within my circle of influence, whether your employees or people who wants to listen to you, and say, Praba, just don't learn. At the end of the learning, ask yourself, what is your action? And then monitor the action. And you will have challenges. Seek help for the challenges. It could be coaching, it could be guidance, it could be satsang, it could be a group of people you're associating with. Right? I mean, this is not new. You all know Mananam, Shravanam, Nididhyasanam. I'm sure, Hirani sir, you know much better than that.
No, I didn't get you, sir.
When we talk about learning, remember we said Mananam, Shravanam, Nididhyasanam.
Manan, Shravan, to talk, and then act.
Exactly. So this is not what Prabha is talking about here. 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 years ago, the rishis have been talking about. Don't just learn, reflect, and translate that into action. All right? In a rich country with civilization like India, there's simply no excuses. Among the top universities in the world, 2,000 years ago was in India. No, last week I was in Indonesia. I saw literature, how 1,500 years ago, Indian civilization was reflected in Indonesia. Imagine the shipbuilding technology then. Thousands of years ago, they navigate the warships, the ships. All right. I'm a shipbuilder. I know the complexity of building ship, yeah, today. But imagine 1,000 years ago. So we have the capability. Let me just stop and ask in the chat room, yeah. I think the problem statement is clear. Learning is not applied. And all of you, when I asked you the percentage, the highest was 25%. The lowest is 1-2%. So everybody agree there's a problem. And what your perception is consistent with what researchers are saying, including my own research. But let me just stop and ask, poor learning transfer, why? Anybody like to share your thoughts? Why this happened? I mean, with due respect, yeah, the leaders and the person responsible for all the budget, yeah, they're not idiots, yeah, they're clever people. So why clever people allowing this to happen?
If you see in the Gita session that I conduct in the morning through some Prabhuji, people come, they listen, but they don't, take it inside. We don't behave the way the Gita said. Gita tells us. We listen, we agree, but we don't do it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Krishna ended the Gita by saying, I have told what I need to tell. Now go back and practice.
Practice.
Isn't
But
it?
one thing is this, sir, whatever you do, you go and practice, you will become better.
Exactly.
Just go on doing it.
Exactly. Right? So thank you. Lack of focus, lack of awareness. People are so busy day to day to do today's job, but they are not aware the consequences in the future. Exactly. Shivani, comfort zone. People are very
Sir, one thing
comfortable.
more, even the necessity makes you do. Like, I am a handicapped person. I have a handicap. The car I am driving is a handicapped car. But I can park in the smallest of area. Others can't. Because this is my necessity. Otherwise, I have to walk a lot.
Nice.
So even that teaches.
Exactly. So my friends, poor learning transfer could be many, many factors. Number one is lack of awareness. So if you don't know what you don't know, how do you know that you don't know?
How did you know? Yes.
We call that unconscious incompetent. One thing you are incompetent, I'm incompetent, but we are not even aware of it. Right? If you know that you don't know, at least you will seek help. But if we don't know what we don't know, how do we know that we don't know? Shangita, very good. Yeah, school should start implementing in children. Brilliant. My suggestion is
She is a teacher.
Every leader who is responsible for approving the budget, they must be accountable for the result.
Yes.
Simple. Fishes rot from the head. Right? The system rots from the leadership. So when the leaders are having the privilege of better salary, better comfort, better power, better authority, that comes with accountability. That's why in the military, as a captain of the ship, I will have the privilege of going and have all the luxury. I even have my own steward to serve me. But when it comes to the crisis, I will be the last person to walk out. If I need to, I sink with the ship.
So military is the best place to learn discipline. The best discipline.
I mean, when you wear uniform, you have given your life. Every day you come back alive is a bonus.
Yes, it's a bonus.
Right. And I'm proud of it, yeah? I'm blessed with that, right? So there could be many reasons. Number one is awareness, and then system to monitor. I'm going to share with you what are some of the available systems. All right. Remember, I was part of a mega failed project. So whatever things that I say you don't do, I was part of the process who done it and failed miserably. And I'm not ashamed to acknowledge it. We are human.
We are human.
We are human. The lesson of Gita started when Arjuna was ready to say, I need help, Krishna. That's why the first entire chapter, Krishna didn't say a word. It took time for Arjuna to realize that he need help. And this is a great warrior. And when he said, please help Guru, then the learning started.
Beautiful.
My friend, whether you are if Arjuna need help, I'm sure the chief executive officer of the country also need help. The prime minister also need help. You got it? So we need to have awareness and the wisdom and the humility that we need help. Don't be arrogant. All right. So if you want, just Google for this book called Brinkerhoff Stories Trainers Tell. What it says is, this is one of my, Brinkerhoff happened to be a military officer and a professor in America, US Navy. There's a term there we call transfer tools. That means transfer here is referring to learning transfer. That means when you are applying learning, when you are learning something, how do you apply that? That is called learning transfer. Got it? So this is what we are planning to do. Yeah. The next 2 minutes, I'm going to stop. When you are having the learning skill, the transfer become more visible. So what Brinkerhoff says, if you use a proper strategy for learning transfer, without any strategy, any initiative for learning transfer, only about 15%, 85% go waste. But if you do it well, reverse, 85% can be applied. All right. And there are many tools there. I'm not particularly, if you want, you can just take a photograph of this book. I'm a student of Dr. Ina. That's when I got certified. But I'm sure there are many other books. Yeah. This is my preference. This is where all the tools are there. This is another tool. We are talking about learning. But you see, the level 3, we are talking about behavior. So if you want anyone to apply what they learn, we must pay attention to monitoring the learning, reinforce, support it, create opportunity on-job learning, create reward and encouragement, and only then results can be seen. So my friends, once again, thank you very much for taking time. And thank you to Shivani and Hirani sir and the team for giving this opportunity. And my intention is share my mistakes, my lesson, and my learning. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity for sharing this with all of you. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for giving all this learning. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you. And it was really wonderful and thought-provoking session. I would request you to highlight some of the ways that we can, how we can apply our learnings into actions. Like, what are some steps that we can start building up instantly while in a learning session or learning any course or anything?
First of all, when you sign up for learning here, always ask, what is the purpose? So let's say you are going for a course on Gita. What is the purpose? If you're going for a course on Master of Business Administration, what is the purpose? If you're going for skill development in the workplace, what is the purpose? In training design, we call that learning outcome. So every trainer or teacher or facilitator or the people who approve the budget, they must know what is the outcome. Got it, Shivani? So focus on what you want to achieve. And then at the end of the course, decide, this is 1 or 2 action I want to do. And then create an environment to facilitate that action. Let's say you want to go for training. Make sure you wake up in the morning, you have blocked your time for walking or exercise, and keep your shoes and, like James Clear, an author called Atomic Habits, is a book who talk about habit forming.
Atomic habits, yes.
Atomic habits. So there's a lot of facilities around.
But sir, one thing, whatever you want to do, start doing. Hurdles will come. You will go over that hurdles.
Exactly.
If you just
And
start.
when you start and when you overcome the hurdles, your skills will become better.
Yes, it will become better. You know, on our skin.
And the overcome the challenges is designed to make you more skillful.
Owning the skill is same.
Yeah, exactly.
You go on doing
Imagine if the environment have no bacteria and virus, we won't build antibody.
Yes, absolutely.
Isn't it? If the children are living in incubator, they won't build antibody.
Sir, somebody said the source of hope is in hopefulness. Source of hope is in hopefulness. When there is hopefulness, you start hoping.
Exactly. So challenges and disasters, like what Hirani says, is the tool to build our muscle. If any of you go to gym, you don't build your muscle by carrying 1 kilogram. You get to pull. Then the muscle get tears. Then you give enough protein, the muscle get built. You got it? So a person who don't understand, they will call that pain. People who go to gym, if you don't feel the pain, you will miss it. So crisis, in every crisis, there is a seed of opportunity.
Very clear.
Got it? So I hope, you don't need the answer. Have a genuine question. Like what Shivani said, sir, how to apply it? And you don't need anywhere. Just reflect in the morning. Ask for some of the friends. Look, open your eyes and look for role models. How are they doing it? And seek help. When the students are ready, the teachers will appear.
Yeah.
And the teacher may appear in a form of crisis. Good medicine don't taste good, my friends.
Crisis is the best teacher. Yes, sir. Yes, very much.
All right. So, my friends, I got to rush for another class. My students are doing homework now, case studies. All right. So, I just scheduled this. So, once again, my suggestion is be aware learning is not just acquiring information, but translate that into action.
Yes.
Ask yourself, what can I do to translate that into action? Don't let what you cannot do stop you from doing what you can. Always do what you can. Don't say, I don't have a gym. Just sit in your house and do some, what do you call this? Prebagaran, we call that in Tamil. What do you call that?
Punishment.
It's not
Murga. Mr. Murga.
No, it's done better.
Done better.
And you don't need any equipment to that. Yeah, you can just do it in your bedroom.
Sir, actually, people are stopped by feeling that they are not capable because they want to be perfect. Perfection come in between their action.
Precisely. So we in today's world, we are pampered, we are overdosed with a lot of information. My suggestion is don't just consume. WhatsApp messages, YouTube, TikTok, now with ChatGPT, information is overloaded. Don't get mistaken. Translate that into action.
Action.
You know, whether it's Ramayana, Mahabharata, Holy Quran or Bible or technology or whatever, take one verse at a time and reflect on it and translate that into action. So Shivani, I got to go. And my friends, Dhirani sir,
Thank you.
pleasure
Thank you.
meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much and wish
Thank
all
you,
of
sir.
you good luck to
Thank
all
you,
of
sir.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you for all your time and sharing of wonderful knowledge. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye, friends.
And sir, Sangeeta ji is asking if you conduct classes for teenagers.
Not really. Not
Okay.
really. My calendar is actually booked for, I'm not taking any more classes. But God willing, my book will be published. I'll share with you, Shivani.
Sure, sir. We would love to read it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so
Thank
much.
you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. And it was really a thought-provoking session today. Anyone
Yes.
wishes to discuss or talk about something from the reflect on something, you are most welcome. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. And see you next Saturday.
Thank you so much, Shivani. Thank you, Harish sir.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sangeeta.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.